This is Up for Debate, episode number 264, recorded October 12th, 2023. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate, the debate podcast where the two hosts agree on everything. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by a man whose name is Matt Mariani. Please welcome Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Sean, Gardner Minshew. I knew I'd find it.
See, you're right there. And he's known for making mistakes, so it's perfect.
Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Screwopolo. No, I like Minshew. I finally found it. I was talking to Sean off mic about his company. He works for a screw company. They make screws, and I said that in his company fantasy football league, he needs to enforce a rule that everybody's team name has to be a pun on screws. Double the points if it is both a pun on screws and a pun on an NFL player or team. And I found it. I said I knew the player was out there, and I just had to open up my own Yahoo Fantasy app. And who do I see? But Gardner
Minshew on your team?
Gardner Minshew. No, he's on waivers. He's on waivers.
Okay, I was worried. I'm like, that's your starting quarterback.
I was looking for a replacement because my starting quarterbacks are not that good. I have Trevor Lawrence and I have Matt Stafford, who are good. They're competent. But they're not.
I also have Trevor
amazing.
Lawrence, who's been a bum, and C.J. Stroud. So
yeah, C.J. Stroud, I just missed out on. Somebody else in my league scooped him up right before I had eyes on him.
Bad. But Lawrence is going to have a really good week this week. This is the week to play Lawrence.
Stafford was my backup. This is the good. Yeah, this would be he's playing in Indy, so I think he's
they're giving up a lot of points. He played well in London. But Matt, we're not here to talk about fantasy football. Unfortunately, though, we certainly could do that. That's an option we will threaten on the listeners.
Indeed, but it's always there.
Instead, Matt, we're actually technically revisiting a topic that we've talked about before. Do you remember the last time on the show we talked about sandwiches?
I do. Unfortunately, I do.
Do you know how long ago it was?
This is going to frighten me because because of the pandemic, everything is a lot longer ago than I seem to think it was, and because of time dilation, I want to say, was it like 2019? Was it like was that already like 4 years ago?
Matt,
somehow,
shockingly, it was almost exactly 7 years ago.
Oh my God!
September 30th, 2016, episode number 61, titled "Between Two Slices."
Oh wow. We're old, Sean. We're old.
Which we talked about what is a sandwich, what are popular sandwiches, could we invent some sandwiches? I guess it was a good episode. I remember literally nothing about it. But we are back this week, Matt, because it's not just enough to talk about sandwiches. We have to definitively give our opinions on them, and considering how badly we blew the soup and salad bracket, we're going to put brackets aside, and tonight we're going to do a format for the first time on the show that I think may work better. We're going to tier rank them from an S all the way down to a D tier. Do you think that'll work better for us, Matt?
Yeah, I think I'm certainly willing to try. Certainly willing to give it a shot.
I love that can-do attitude.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Do you have any sandwich-related thoughts before we dive right in?
The only sandwich-related thought I can think of right now is that I was trying to think back to the very first sandwich I've ever had, and very sadly, I think it might have been a McDonald's cheeseburger. That might have been the very first sandwich that I ever ate.
How would you remember that?
It was because, Sean, I was told that was apparently the first solid food that I ever consumed.
That explains so much.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know. I always.
But it does. Doesn't it make a lot of sense?
It does. It
It does.
does.
It makes
That's
a
why you're
whole
so
lot of
smart and
sense.
successful. No, it's
Just right,
yeah, that's
Ronald
interesting.
McDonald. Yeah. I don't know. What are your sandwich thoughts?
Sandwiches are good. And that's pretty much it. I don't spend much time thinking about
You know,
sandwiches, to be totally honest. I don't even.
like universally speaking, we talk a lot about like, oh, how could you not like this? How could you like? I don't think I've ever met, and this is not hyperbole. I don't think I've ever met a single person out there who was anti sandwiches, ever. From across cultures,
But
across religions, I think the thing that unites us is sandwiches.
yeah, but I also think the definition of a sandwich is so loose.
It is
That would be like saying I'm against animals, and
food.
it's like
Yeah,
nobody's against all animals because there's so many of them and they're so different.
a lot
You
of
know,
options.
that's a tough one. I mean, you can make a. There are sandwiches that don't even have bread, or that are just so far off. But Matt, this I'm going to share my screen here so you can see what we'll be
Mm-hmm.
working with, and the folks watching
Mr.
the video
Shaw.
version on YouTube are going to be able to see it as well. And Matt, this is a list of 40 sandwiches from a book entitled The Encyclopedia of Sandwiches. And this is
Ooh.
what they consider to be 40 standard types of sandwich. I'm going to just very quickly read all 40 for those listening, and then we're going to go through and rank all of these. There's the bacon, egg, and cheese, grilled cheese, pulled pork, banh mi, BLT, Italian sub, Thanksgiving sandwich, lobster roll, turkey club, tuna melt, fried chicken, cheesesteak, cubano, meatball sub, croquette monsieur, croquette madame, Reuben, gyro, po' boy, caprese, patty melt, egg salad, French dip, PB&J, torta, roast beef, jamon beurre, tonkatsu, Monte Cristo, ham and cheese, bagel with lox. That's not a sandwich. Falafel pita, chicken salad, veggie and hummus, bologna, Italian beef, Kentucky hot brown, bocadillo, liverwurst, and cucumber tea. Ooh.
That is quite a mouthful.
And an odd mix. A lot of variety.
Yeah. Let me full screen this. So, where do you begin?
Yeah, or any jumping out at you, or you want to just start at one
I
and
think
work our way
let's
through?
just go like in the order. Let's just
All
take
right.
them down in order. We've got some nice pictures here for those of you at home. We'll try to give our best descriptions. I like, are these all like AI generated, or what are these, where do these pictures come
No,
from?
there's actually these are from a book entitled The Encyclopedia of Sandwiches, I believe. And I think there's
Okay.
a poster you can get that have all of these pictures on them.
All right, so how does this
They,
work?
they,
We're gonna debate where
so
the sandwich belongs, and
yeah, so our
um
tiers are S being the best, then A, B, C, D being the worst, and we're
okay.
literally just going to place them in tiers, and we'll have a debate about each, starting with now bacon, egg, and cheese, the classic breakfast sandwich. Um, any early thoughts as to where this might rank?
Bacon, egg, and cheese. My opinion, and this may not be the best. Jumping out right now, I would say B. And we have so many sandwiches here. I was just kind of going through like really quickly, but I think B is where I would put it. Right, might not be everybody's favorite ranking. Some people would probably put it up higher, but there's to me there's better alternatives to bacon. I live in the great state of New Jersey where you can get pork roll, far better than bacon. I don't care what anybody says. I'll fight you. It's better than bacon. Canadian bacon is even better than regular bacon. I think bacon personally is a very overrated food. I like bacon. It's fine. It's good. It's not the best. So B. B I think is where
I
it belongs.
totally agree. Bacon is aggressively overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I do like this egg and cheese sort of style of sandwich, but I think B is right. And by the way, we can always switch these around later. So I'm totally good with it being in B. What do you think about grilled cheese?
Nothing beats
A cheese sandwich.
a nice grilled cheese. It's a little on the boring side, but it's always been there for me. And I don't want to, I don't really want to disrespect. I've had some fond memories of grilled cheeses. They can be dressed up nicely, and made and kind of like enhanced better. But then again, I really feel like a true grilled cheese really benefits from like a tomato soup next to it. I don't know. I'll let you have this ranking, Sean. Where do you think it belongs?
I I like a grilled cheese too, but I agree that you have to doctor it up. Cheese on bread is not going to do much for me. It's a B or a C for me. I don't think it goes any higher or lower.
Mm, yeah. Why don't we plop it in the C tier for now?
All right.
And we can always move it up potentially if needed.
Now,
How
what
about a
about
pulled pork?
pulled pork? Got to get your coleslaw on there, some barbecue sauce. What do you think?
Um, Pulled pork is always interesting because it's one that a lot can go wrong with a pulled pork sandwich. It could be too messy. It could
Hmm.
be too little pork. It could be like the pork could be dry. I've had some really good pulled pork sandwiches. I've also had some really bad pulled pork sandwiches in my lifetime. Um, and I think I've probably had more bad than good. So I would plop pulled pork, and for me, I would probably drop it in like the C tier range. I think
Wow, wow.
personally, yeah.
Well, I
What do you
guess
think?
that's a good question though. Is how are we ranking these? What's the criteria?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. What's the
for me
criteria?
going in, I was thinking, what is the where does the perfect version of the sandwich rank? Like I get all of these sandwiches. I'm sure there's good and bad versions of,
Okay, I like that. I like
but
that. We're imagining the ideal pulled pork
yes,
sandwich. Okay,
yes.
now I get. It. I like it. All right, so in that case, I would bump it up to a B. Um, I've never had a pulled pork sandwich that has as elevated beyond that level. Unfortunately, like to get to the A or the S tier, always like I'm thinking about the very best pulled pork sandwich I've ever had,
Yeah.
and it's good, but it there's got to be some kind of something wrong with it. It's either too messy, it's too sweet, not enough pork. There's always the bread is off. I've never had an ideal pulled pork sandwich. I would probably give it a B. And it's kind of one note,
Yeah.
right? Because just you just kind of and coleslaw is really it's not a very acceptable condiment. It's kind of it makes it even more of a mess. The thing is just a very big mess. You can't eat this and then go on a nice date.
Well, I think Matt, you've actually going into this, I would have S or A'd it. Like I love pulled pork. When it's very good, it's very good. But as you talked about it, you're right. It never is quite as good as the promise. And the other thing is pulled pork. I don't know if even a sandwich is the best way to eat pulled pork. Because pulled pork just on its own is very good. You don't necessarily need the sandwich. And in a sandwich ranking, I agree. I don't. I think B is where it should be.
All right.
What
What we
about
got
a
next?
banh mi?
Banh mi. I think, in my opinion, Sean, we've got our very first A rank of a sandwich. Something I always always value in a sandwich, and highly to me it matters probably the like more than anything else, the quality of the bread. Quality of the bread is huge for a sandwich. Banh mi always made with fresh French bread. Um, and French bread is amazing. It's one of, if not the best types of bread out there. The banh mi is always a well balanced sandwich. The meat doesn't like overstay its welcome, and the herbs and vegetables go like pair perfectly with it. I love banh mi. Banh mi is a great sandwich. I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah,
Only
I
reason I
mean, we
would
got
not only reason I can't bump it up to an S is I don't think I've eaten enough banh mi in my life um to do a service of like determining what the best banh mi sandwich is. So, what do you think?
yeah. I think they're in the category of like international sandwiches. I think there are other ones in here I think are better. So I think an A makes sense. The cool thing about a banh mi is nobody makes a bad banh mi because very few people make them.
Mm.
You can go anywhere and get a pulled pork sandwich. I can make one at home if I wanted to. Like it's not hard. So banh mi is a pretty good A sandwich. Like it's always pretty good. So I will agree with you there. What about
Cool.
a BLT, Matt? Your classic bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
You know, my mom would make these a lot as a kid.
Hmm.
They're nice. They're quick. I always used to complain a lot when she would make them because I never was really excited by the prospect of a BLT, and even as a kid, I always kind of thought bacon was a little overrated. But now, as an adult, I appreciate the versatility and the amount of money you can save when you eat BLTs. Like it's a pretty cheap, pretty accessible sandwich. All I would say is maybe just substitute the B out for a PR pork roll. Pork roll, lettuce and cheese, I think is better sandwich. The bacon, lettuce, tomato is nice. It's okay in a pinch, especially with the right like mayo or sauces on it. I'd probably put it in a B. If I put pulled pork as a B, I'd probably say BLT belongs as like a B.
I'm going to
I could
challenge you.
possibly be I could be convinced to lower it to a C though. I'm kind of halfway between a B and a C.
BLT is a bad sandwich. It's a bad sandwich. It's barely a sandwich. Um, where we just spent a bunch of time saying how bacon is overrated, and this
Yeah.
sandwich without the bacon is just lettuce and tomato.
And you know what? It's between two pieces of toast. If you up the bread game a little bit on it and didn't just go for just like regular white bread toast, I think you could elevate the game a little bit. But at the same time, it always felt like it was missing something, right?
Yeah, it was always one ingredient short. Like you need a real meat. Like bacon is not a real meat. Like you
Yeah.
said, if it were a ham, lettuce, tomato, that makes a lot more sense. And by the way, there's others. I totally get the argument that this is a quote unquote discount sandwich.
Hmm.
A, I would challenge you, by the way. You know what a package of bacon costs at the store these days? $10 in Joe Biden's economy.
Well,
No, but but I would argue there's better discount sandwiches coming up on the list when you look at. I think bologna I would rather have than a BLT. I think a ham and cheese I'd rather have over a BLT.
all right.
Um,
Yeah,
egg
I'm not
salad.
gonna. I
All
don't
right,
think
you're not going to fight me.
I'll
I'm going
go.
to put it in
I'm not
C.
gonna. I'm not coming to the BLT's defense. We can leave it as a C.
I have strong opinions. But Matt, I know you're going to rep this next one, the Italian sub,
Ooh. All right.
cured meats for days.
Cured meat. Sean, if it were only 10 years ago when I could eat a whole one of these instead of today where my metabolism has grown weak and feeble as an old man of 32. Uh, I I could put these away no problem. These days though, I gotta watch my sodium intake, and this one is a killer for that.
Hmm.
However, I think we're imagining a perfect world where I can eat all the stuff that I want without any
What a
consequences or
dream.
repercussions. I can just fill up on that sodium, that sweet, sweet sodium, and for days and days. So I would say that the Italian sub has to be an S tier sandwich. Like, try to challenge me on that.
Matt, I don't think I can. I mean, I do think we're biased. We're Northeast guys. You're a New York, New Jersey guy. I think it makes a lot of sense that we would like it. The thing
Mm.
about, to me, the Italian sub is sort of that perfect deli meat sandwich. Like, there's a lot of other deli meat sandwiches here that we'll talk about. Ham and cheese is a good example. But to me, the combination on the Italian subs of multiple highly cured meats, you got to do the shredded lettuce, tomato, onion, a mayonnaise or an oil, vinegar. You got to get the seasoning on it. You get a great Italian sub.
It's the perfect party sandwich. It's the perfect party. You're at a party. You're hosting a party.
Absolutely.
What do you get? Just get a huge Italian sub to share. Carve it up into pieces, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. I think that's a no brainer in the S tier. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. Now, what about the Thanksgiving sandwich? Turkey, stuffing, cranberry, gravy. Um, Maybe not the most common sandwich, but certainly one I think we've all had from time to time.
Yeah, this is your annual sandwich. This is like you're gonna have this. once a year, and it's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
day after or 2 days after Thanksgiving. You're going to put all the leftovers on it. Um, 2 slices of bread, the fresh maker, right? Made famous by that episode of Friends, where
Mm-hmm.
you got to make sure you put that third layer, that third slice of bread soaked in gravy in the middle. Moisture maker, that was what it was. And I don't know how this can't be an S tier. I would say this has to be an S tier sandwich. It's
Oh boy.
phenomenal. It's Thanksgiving in a sandwich.
Oh
Um,
boy. Well,
it's Thanksgiving in a sandwich, but it has to be done the right way. It has to be done with the slices of fresh turkey. Um, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Sean? You seem to be like hesitant on
well,
this, making
I
this
love the
an S
Thanksgiving
tier.
sandwich. I do.
Mm.
I think it is a good. The problem is it's barely a sandwich. It is a meal between two pieces. The bread is like any sandwich where you can just ditch the bread and it's a normal meal is to me stretching the bounds. So for me to be like, when we're at the end of this, Matt, we're going to say, wow, the S tier. These are the preeminent sandwiches on planet Earth. And for me to put Thanksgiving there is kind of like it's not that common. It's not universally popular. I think we'll get into some other sandwiches as we go down here that I haven't even heard of some of these sandwiches we're going to talk about. I don't know what a Kentucky hot brown is. We'll find out. But to
We'll
me, I
find
think
out.
Thanksgiving, I'm comfortable with it at an A tier.
Okay, you know
Because
what?
I also think it's
We can
it's
make it an A. We can make it an A tier.
it's similar to the banh mi in a way, where it's like it's kind of specific. It's not super common, but if somebody's making it, it's probably pretty damn good, and you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't eat it all the time. Like to me, an S tier sandwich, you have to be like, I would eat it at the drop of a hat. I don't know if I'd say that
Right.
about Thanksgiving.
Okay. I think that's fair. Moving on to the
My 2
lobster
cents.
roll.
Oh, the classic New
The
England lobster roll.
lobster roll, right? As they
Uh,
say in your neck of the
in
woods. Lobster.
no, not my neck of the woods. They don't.
They
We
don't
have
say
ours on our
lobster
words
in
here.
Western Mass?
No, we're
No
lobster
lobster?
rolls.
No lobster rolls
No, not in the Harvard Yard.
in Harvard Yard.
The
What do you think of lobster rolls?
I think they're overrated. I really do. I think again, it's another sandwich. Most of the time, you're going to get it, and it's not going to be that good. Greatly overpriced, and I feel like the quality of the lobster varies so much that to me, this is just good on paper, tough in execution. And if I'm going to a place that has a lobster roll, odds are good they have other good seafood items that I think are going to be more cost effective and satisfying than a lobster roll. So for me, it's probably my default is like that BC area. I don't think it gets up to A. But what do you think?
I see the lobster roll it's personally, I would say it's one of my favorite sandwiches on this list. I actually really like the sandwich.
I didn't even know that.
I really like a good lobster roll. Question is, can I afford a very good lobster roll? It's also I would argue is one of the more expensive sandwiches on this list.
Oh, for sure.
It is good. But I think it kind of fits it fits the perfect criteria for an A in my mind, not an S tier. It's more of a niche sandwich like the banh mi and like the Thanksgiving. Whereas the Thanksgiving would be like a fall winter sandwich for me. The lobster roll is very much a summer sandwich. That'd be like I'd be on vacation at the Cape, and I might be able to get like one or two, and if I go to the right place, and if it's like a truck, like far away from the beach, like
but
that's where I would be able to get a lobster roll.
Part of the issue is the roll concept. Mind you, the only sandwich that comes on a hot dog roll is so they don't give you much meat in it. Like if they filled an actual like hoagie roll with lobster roll filling, it would bankrupt them.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind
true.
of I don't know, Matt.
I mean
maybe B, but listen, if you want to push it to A, I just thought of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not going to agree. If we agree on all these, that's no fun. So there are going to be some where at the end of the argument, we're just not going to agree. And I think this is one of them. So, Matt, if you want to bump lobster roll up to A, that's totally fine. But I get a credit on a future sandwich where I can bump up its rating in exchange.
Okay. I think that's perfectly fair. I agree. I agree to
Making
those
up rules
terms.
on the fly.
I agree to your sandwich terms. So lobster roll,
Okay.
mark that as an A.
We'll put it down as an A. You bet.
Moving on.
Turkey Club.
The Turkey Club sucks, and so does all club sandwiches suck. They're garbage.
No!
Trash.
Stop
They're trash
that!
sandwiches. They're for
They're
old
not!
people. Put it in the D.
No,
Put it in the
what?
D. Put it in the D.
No!
Put it in the
That
D.
cannot be a D
Put it in
sandwich.
the
Stop
D.
that. You're
Club
out of
sandwiches
Listen,
are
it's not
trash,
mess.
Sean. They're a scam. They're a scam. Oh, here's an extra layer of bread so that we keep the condiments and the lettuce and all the good stuff separate from the meat. What is that?
Yeah.
That's not what a sandwich is.
They
Get out of
put
here.
bacon on it.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's baloney. No, actually, it's turkey. But don't be a turkey and think that you're getting a deal with this sandwich. This sandwich is garbage. It belongs in the trash. It belongs in the D ranking. Put it in the D, Sean. Get it out of my sight. Get all these club sandwiches out of my sight. Terrible, absolutely terrible. People that do this, people will go and get club sandwiches at a deli, at like a diner. I'm like, what are you doing? There's so many other better options than getting a club sandwich. What club are you a part of? The club that I think there was like there was like a stand-up comic routine about that. About like you're part of the club that likes an extra layer of bread in your sandwiches. Mitch Hedberg, I think, had a routine about that.
I do.
But he also agreed with me. He would say that this club sandwich, it belongs in Club D. That's the club it belongs in. Keep it in that D.
No. So here's the thing. Let me just say my 2 cents. We can put it in D. I'm not going to pretend it's a great sandwich. It's not an S or an A. It's not. I agree. It's basically like boring sandwich plus. However, and personally, I like a tuna club more than a turkey club, but I just like how tall it is. It's unnecessarily stupid tall, and you can't fit the whole thing in your mouth, and that is appealing to me. So I just want to make it clear to the world, I like club sandwiches. I order club sandwiches. They're not better. Like if you had a tuna sandwich and a tuna club right next to each other, I don't think there's that big of a difference.
You just want the Scooby Doo experience when they make the
when you
really tall
go to
sandwiches.
a restaurant where they go nuts with the club, where it's like this tall, and then they cut it into like 4 and lay it on the plate. It takes up the whole goddamn plate, and there's so much you can't eat it. I find that appealing because I'm a gross monster.
Put that put that turkey club on the back burner.
I put it on the D, but I made my point clear. Matt, what about a tuna melt?
A tuna melt.
Tuna salad, cheese, melty.
I like
we
tuna.
We put grilled cheese in C.
We did, and this is basically just a grilled cheese with tuna, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it would. Your mileage with this would very much vary based on how much you like tuna. I've had some really amazing tuna melts in my life at the Jersey Shore, and I gotta give this tuna melt I would give it a B personally. I don't know about you. Good tuna melt, maybe with the low key secret with tuna melt. Add golden mustard to it. Golden mustard or horseradish. That is low key. It balances out the fish flavor very nicely. Mustard and tuna melt goes really well.
I like tuna on sandwiches. I order tuna sandwiches a lot, mainly because I find they're a little more consistent than a turkey or ham, which can vary wildly in cut and taste and quality. I'm just not a huge warm tuna fan. And I find tuna melts miss more than they hit in my experience. I have not had one at the Jersey Shore. Did not know they were famous for that. I thought it was just gym, tan, and laundry.
I don't think they're famous for it. Yeah, I don't think they're famous for it. It's just something that I
orders it.
Probably. I just weirdly would get it a lot when we would go down there for vacations. So you have to understand, I spent almost every summer of my life at the Jersey Shore on a summer, like 1 week, 2 week, like hotel, like little trip to Wildwood. So that's the only place my family would go. So I've had a lot of tuna melts in my day. I'm a creature of
I
habit.
could definitely see your mother. We got to get Maddie's tuna melt. We got
Hell
to get
yeah.
Maddie's tuna melt.
You know it. You know it. I love my
That's
tuna melts.
what your mother sounds like. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. It's fine. That's how I would describe it. Fine. It's better than a BLT or a grilled cheese, which we haven't seen. So, what about the fried chicken? Now, this has been trendy as of the last couple of years. Fried chicken is popping off.
It has. It
fried
seems like everybody.
Sandwich, Matt, what do you think?
Everybody tries to make an answer for the Chick-fil-A fried chicken. I think it's fine. These days, I can't really eat too many fried foods. I try to stay away from things that are fried when possible. And I don't know. They upset again. I'm an old man. They upset my old man metabolism. So I probably would drop the fried chicken in for me. And I know I'm gonna maybe catch a lot of flack for this, but like a C, it's like a C tier.
Oh no!
It just doesn't like.
What?
I don't know.
No, stop the madness.
I don't. All right. I would, because I think I would prefer just fried chicken. I would eat fried chicken, not in a sandwich. I don't know if you need the sandwich. I don't know. But again, me like 10 years ago, I would probably put this in like an A. I don't know.
Can I pitch you on the chicken sandwich?
Pitch me on it.
So
please do.
What's great about the chicken sandwich is I would argue, the only good sandwich with a chunk of meat on it. Almost every sandwich we're going to talk about is either some kind of salad or meatball or lunch meat, deli sliced. But what's nice about this is a single hunk of meat on bread. It's hearty, it's thick, and when cooked properly, the chicken is moist, it's juicy, it's flavorful. I agree. You can eat it in non-sandwich form, but hard to eat on the go. Fried chicken on the go is greasy, it's tough to eat. And I think the fact it's been so trendy indicates that the general marketplace is a fan of I think the fried chicken sandwich has really, again, you had asked me 10 years ago, I might agree with you, but now there's so many options. You can even make it at home. I don't know. I'm a big, my default, it's A, maybe even S tier for me.
All right. You know what? I'll default to you here because I think the masses are with you. Pop it in one of those. A is fine. A will put it as an A tier.
We'll pop it in A.
Yeah.
We'll pop it in A. But I got you. But now, Matt, I know this one. Oh, you're New Yorker, big rivalry with Philadelphia. I know you hate those Philadelphians. But what about the cheesesteak?
S tier sandwich. I love the cheesesteak. I've nothing but good things to say about cheesesteak. It's phenomenal. It is probably. Not only would I rank this as one of my favorite sandwiches, but I would say it's one of my favorite foods of all time. And that's really saying something. Like it would be my in no particular order, the cheesesteak would be up there with like sushi and pizza and like a really good bagel. It's a great thing. I've had dreams, Sean. This is not an exaggeration. I have had dreams about trying the very best cheesesteaks in the world, and actual dreams. Like I'll wake up like hungry for a cheesesteak. No other sandwich on this list comes close in my mind to the majesty. I've been waiting to get to this one, to the cheesesteak. It's also so versatile. You could put provolone, you could put whiz, you could put or whiz with, as they say in Philly. You could put mozzarella, you could put like just any there's so many things you could do to it. You could do onions, you could do no onions, you could do raw onions, you could do sauteed onions, you could do pickles, you could do roasted peppers, you could do mushrooms. So much versatility in this sandwich. It's amazing. This, Sean, is God's sandwich. What do you think about that?
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Okay. I let you talk long enough.
I love it. I love the cheesesteak. I'll hear none of your blasphemy.
Cheesesteaks are great.
Blaspheme the cheesesteak. Okay,
no, listen. Here's the thing. Am I going to call it the greatest sandwich on earth? No. Am I going to call it the number one out of these 40? No. But a cheesesteak, to me, I will put it in S tier. I think it falls into the category of A, it's classic. B, it's universal. C, it's generally made well. Kind of hard to find a bad cheesesteak. At minimum, you're getting an average one. There is some variety to it, and it is a classic sandwich style on bread on a roll, unlike some of these more exotic sandwiches. So no, I have no problem putting it in the S tier. I would just caution you to say, although I do have to ask you, Matt, actually, because we've never talked about cheesesteaks before. What is your opinion on chicken cheesesteaks?
Chicken cheesesteaks, uh, definitely not as good as a regular cheesesteak. Not at all.
But it's not blasphemy either.
It's not blasphemy. It's not it's not obviously it's not a cheesesteak, right? Because it's not, the steak element is not there. I don't really know what to call it. I guess that's why people default to this chicken cheesesteak. But it's not terrible. It's not something I would go out of my way to get, I guess. They're okay, but they're not it's not a cheesesteak.
Okay. Totally.
The secret to cheesesteak is it's got to have the good quality bread. Like that bread to
Yes.
keep everything together. That's the secret. And shaved. I think shaved meat I prefer better to the chopped. I think when you chop
Yep.
it gets a little tough. But nice, very thin slices is how you do a proper cheesesteak.
I totally hear you, Matt. What about next on our list, number 13 here? The Cubano. Now, I have to make confession. I've never had a Cuban sandwich in my life. So you're gonna. I guess I'm kind of like eliminated. You're gonna have to handle this one.
I think this is the perfect. In my opinion, I would say it's the perfect kind of an A tier sandwich, if it fits our criteria. It's very similar in a lot of ways to the banh mi. You've got except it's got the meat, a little bit more versatility with the meat because it has pork and it has ham. What really makes the Cubano pop is the mustard and the pickle in it. On the and of course the bread. It really has a unique bread. So in a lot of ways, it is basically the banh mi. So I would say the Cubano would fit perfectly in the A tier.
You've sold me. We'll have to go out and get one sometime.
Absolutely. You're gonna want to do this now, Sean. I have a question. The little emojis at the top of the screen. What are these people that are like voting on our sandwich choices? What is this?
No. This is a website called tiermaker.com. They have a whole bunch of these pre-made ones, or you can make your own. And these are just people who have rated this pre-made encyclopedia of sandwiches tier ranking. Okay. Although I will say, Matt, since you mentioned it, at the end, after we've done all 40, they actually save all the ones everyone has ever done and actually have like a community ranking list. So we'll be able to compare ourselves to the general public.
All right. So the world of 2023.
Look forward to that.
What's next?
The meatball sub. You got your meatballs, your marinara, your mozzarella.
What do you think about the meatball sub?
Again, it's another sandwich I like. I don't get a lot. I think it's another one of those stretching, why is this on a sandwich type thing, where it's like I kind of just want the meatballs. If you just gave me like a bowl of meatballs and sauce, I would be just as happy as a meatball sub. But it's not a bad sub. I mean, I don't think it's a C or a D. I'm in that sort of B-A range on this. What do you think?
Yeah, perfectly solid sandwich. I think it's not one that I usually get often, or as often as I might like. But it's pretty good. It's a meatball sub. What can you say? What's wrong about a nice lunch pail sandwich like a meatball sub? I would probably pop it into maybe the B, or we'll probably go with the B just because I forget about it so often.
Well, and I was
Um,
looking at what, because now that we've started to fill out these tiers, we can compare them. Like, I think the meatball is below all the A tiers
mhm.
and kind of makes sense with the B tiers.
Yeah,
So,
it's a reliable. It's kind of like the B's are like the old reliable kind of things, but not as boring as the C tiers, but also
mhm.
not as not as unique as the A tiers. That's kind of where I would like it's not enough to pop as an A. I think meatball fits comfortably with the B.
Well, then we can move on from the Italian meatball sub to the French croquette monsieur.
The croque
The
monsieur.
croque monsieur. Um, Ham and cheese, Gruyere, uh, fried. Do you eat a lot of these, Matt?
I think I might have had one of the, one croque monsieur in my life. The one croque monsieur for me was good. It's basically the secret with the croque monsieur and the croque madame, which is the croque madame, I believe, is just a croque monsieur with an egg on top.
It is. I don't know
But
why they're both on here.
I think the secret is just that the bread is French toast.
Yeah.
Like they make you make French toast and then
Well,
you
are
put it's a
you?
ham and cheese but with French toast bread. And the
Well,
croque
but then
madame is
what's
an egg.
a Monte Cristo?
Oh, that is a good question. Uh oh no, okay. Monte Cristo I think has turkey, I believe. No. It's an
Uh,
egg dipped. It's the same thing. The Monte Cristo is a variation of the croque monsieur.
I think the croque monsieur you do make on slices of white or brown bread. Yeah, so it's not. I think when you
Yep.
do it on the French toast, it becomes
No,
a Monte Cristo.
I found it. I found the secret. The
Yeah.
Monte Cristo has it has turkey. So a Monte Cristo is a croque monsieur, which is ham and cheese, but also added with turkey. I don't know why they had to give that a whole nother name. It's a croque monsieur with turkey. Is a Monte Cristo.
And the Monte Cristo you also serve with like powdered sugar and maple syrup, which I don't believe you do
Yeah,
with
but
the
you could
croque
do that.
monsieur.
I think you could do that with a croque monsieur as well.
Can you?
Yeah, it's yeah.
And by the way, do you know all these croque varieties? The
Oh,
croque
there's more.
senior is made with salsa. The croque Hawaiian has a slice of pineapple. The croque provincial has tomato.
Croque
They do a
gagne
lot.
is made with andouille sausage and Gouda cheese.
They have a bolognese
Mm.
version made with bolognese sauce. That could be a fun cooking challenge for us. Make our own French sandwiches.
Croque Norwegian use smoked salmon instead of ham. That could be really good. These are great. These are great ideas.
But both sandwiches, the male and female sandwiches,
Hmm.
I think these are like C tier sandwiches. I don't they don't excite me. It's basically a ham and cheese, except more difficult to make, and nobody knows what they are. So I think they're a C. What do you say?
Yeah, I think definitely don't get them enough to excite me that much. It's I mean it's really good in theory, but I'm also not the biggest fan of French toast. It's not like it never really was my like go-to thing for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was inferior to the your pancake or your waffle, in my opinion. So I think a C is fair. We could put them both, maybe both in a C, since they're both
I
the
think so.
same essentially.
I don't
Okay,
know why they're both on there.
yeah.
But Matt, we're gonna leave the French and make our way over to whatever country the Reuben sandwich comes from.
New York City, Katz's Deli,
New York. It is.
right? Very known for the
Wikipedia says
Reuben,
place of origin United States.
home of the Reuben.
It
The Reuben sandwich.
invented in Nebraska.
Ooh,
Believe it or not.
disappointing. All right. Well, what do you think of the Reuben, Sean?
Matt, I've never had a Reuben.
Oh, so we're
I
gonna
don't get
rely
out
on
much.
my judgment. Okay.
I mean, I can pretend to make an opinion on it, but you're probably better off leading me to
Well,
victory.
we invoked her earlier, My mother, this is happens to be her favorite sandwich. She is a big fan of the Reuben. Corned beef, Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian dressing. Um, Although I like my Reubens with mustard. I don't know. I'm finding out that I'm just kind of a big mustard guy. I talk about it a lot, but uh, you got to have it on rye bread.
Mm-hmm.
I I like the sauerkraut option. This is actually I get this. This is like one of my go-to deli orders. If I'm feeling like a hot sandwich, a Reuben is usually the way that I would go. Um, probably probably throw it in the B tier.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably B tier it. Might be a little high. It might actually belong with the C's, but if a meatball sub can hang in the B, I would say we could also invite Ruben, everybody's good friend Ruben.
American Idol winner.
That's
Ruben
right.
Studdard.
Indeed.
Back in the day. Now, let's travel over to the Greek Isles, Matt, and talk about the. Now, how do you say it?
That would be I believe the proper Greek pronunciation for this would be the G row. You got to make sure it's the G row.
It's not a. It's
Right?
not a gyro.
I think it's a gyro. I think they
And
really like it when
it's
you
not a
pronounce the G.
hero.
Gyro.
Gyro.
Yep, I think one of those slogans is like Gyro. I sure want a gyro. Gyro sandwich is our next one. I don't know if this is okay, controversial opinion. I don't know if this is actually a sandwich. This is more like a wrap to me, which I don't know if that would, I don't know if I would consider this a sandwich personally. It's good.
In fact,
messy.
you can often eat them deconstructed.
It's kind of like
not even
I've had a lot of these in my life, in different diners and different roadside stands in the city.
I mean, Matt, I believe I have the ability. All right.
Oh, creating a new. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't do that right. Hang on. Yeah. So I've added a. Damn it! Stop that.
Yeah, just go to delete row. I think
I am adding a new category called "Not a Sandwich." Would you want to put it in "Not a Sandwich"?
Please do. Please do. Get it out of my sight. Not a sandwich.
Is there anything else we've talked about so far that's not a sandwich? I just want to make sure.
No. I think everything else.
They're all sandwiches.
The criteria. I just think the gyro is more of a wrap.
All right, that's fair. It's not a sandwich. I mean, Matt, let's just play devil's advocate here, though, just quickly. If we did consider it a sandwich, where would you put it?
If we did put it in a sandwich, I would say I would have probably put it in the C or B. I'd probably put it in the C. Yeah, I'd probably put it in the C. It's good. But definitely not my favorite. I'm a big breads guy, and I've never had pita that's like blown me away. It's usually just all right.
How do you think it would taste on a sub roll?
Oh, on a sub roll, I think it could be quite good. I like the tzatziki sauce. It's good stuff. I like the fresh veggies and stuff on there too. If it were on a sub roll, I don't know why people don't do this more often. Like why don't we have this more often on like French fries? I think on
rye it would be great.
I agree. I think you could even elevate it to like an A tier ranking in that way. What do we have? So I would say probably put it in the not a sandwich. Now, Sean, I've got a question for you.
Oh no.
Is it possible to save this ranking list?
Yes.
Because you know what comes on in 3 minutes.
And I'm behind, actually. I got to catch up. But yes, no, we've got to get Matt off for his old man dating reality show. Matt, this is a perfect time. Yes. We're right about halfway through.
I figured this was a good stopping point.
Love to come back and revisit this next week. Outstanding. And by the way, a fun exercise, certainly. If folks out there disagree with any of our opinions, please let us know between now and our next recording. We'd love to incorporate that into the show at Up for Debate TV on X, or email us upfordebatetv@gmail.com, and let us know what you think.
We'll pop a toothpick in this and come back to it later.
Yeah, put it in to-go container, put it in the fridge for next time. But thanks for being here. So on behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. We appreciate it as always. We're going to see you next time on another sandwich-tastic edition of Up for Debate.